So we're in Quartzsite. We're just outside of Quartzsite. Tim's airing down tires. Just hit dirt, and we're gonna find our first camp spot of this trip. We're in the FJ40.
We drove, I don't know, a couple hours of highway, so that's just, in this truck, just kind of slow lane, taking it easy.
Loud.
Yeah, everyone's flying past you, but it's not too bad.
He did good.
Yeah, Tonto did really well. We changed the springs and the shocks.
And I fixed the windows so they are nice and quiet.
Yeah, so before we had no window seals, so the windows would just rattle around when you're off-road. Alright, this is campsite number 1. Pretty awesome. Just the end of mining road built with tailings. I'm just standing up here on a whole bunch of tailings. You can see more mining roads. No fire pits though. She's building me a fire pit. There's the road I wanted to camp on via Google Earth, but it's pretty much straight up. Mostly just tailings kind of thrown down the side of the hill, not much of a road. That's alright. There's also a big washout in the wash that was like 4 feet down and then 4 feet back up, so we gave up on that and found this spot. But we're kind of amazed that no one camps at this. It's sort of the main mining road in this valley. But, oh well. It's ours. Night.
This trip was all about slowing down for us. After the craziness of the holidays, we were really looking forward to just exploring, with no particular agenda, bringing in the new year in our favorite place, outside. The FJ40 seemed the perfect vehicle for the job. It brings a sense of going analog, as Tim would say. Today we decided to head towards a place called Dripping Springs, a long-used water source in this area. For the most part, the road was in a wash and only had a few mildly rocky sections to navigate. I drove some of this, and I have to say, driving the FJ40 off-road on a not-so-straight track is a blast, but also a workout with no power steering. So props to Tim, who did the majority of the driving on this trip. My arms thank you. So we made it to Dripping Springs.
If you were traveling out here in summer, 110.
Yeah.
See the rock leaning against the side of the mountain there? All the air gap in between it?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I might have to climb up to there. See that little nook? That looks like a spot where you'd have a home. See it?
Yep. With the white kind of rock below it.
I don't see anything that looks super man-made, but we climbed up to this little alcove up here, thinking it could have been something Native American, but there's no sign of any sort of real fire or anything, and there's almost always some signs of fire in any of these I found, so I don't know if it ever was. But yeah, cool little spot. You can see Tonto down there. Now we just gotta get back down. It's all nice little cliff here, down to that last point. Pretty though. So we made it back down. That little alcove is right up at the top of that outcropping up there.
No, it is neat. There's so much like writing all around. Like this rock right here has somebody maybe from 1861. But it's cool. This is a pretty well visited place, so it's nice to be here when there's no one else here. We were in early enough that.
Like, I'm sure 20 years ago you needed something like a Jeep or an FJ40 to get here, or 20. We're like 30, 40. But now I think it's a pretty well run trail for UTVs and stuff. But pretty cool. And as you keep climbing up into these canyons and stuff, well, not canyons, whatever you want to call that, you keep seeing petroglyphs. So it's kind of neat.
Back on the road again, we moseyed on out of the wash and by a few cabins, all of which had people and UTVs at them, so we waved and went on our way to deeper, less used trails. Now, video never seems to do obstacles justice, but this trip turned out to be a very good test of the truck's abilities, and the old guy always pulls through and continues to impress us.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, I didn't
Me?
see you there.
Just cutting some salami. I like to come to this spot. Think about things. So we just, we were driving along a little road next to this wash. And there's not a lot of shade. It's the middle of the day. Not that you need it. It's winter, but...
It's still pretty hot for
yeah, it's
winter
70
here.
something. Way hotter than we expected. When you get down in this wash, these rocks we're sitting on are sort of ice cold. Feels great. Ice cold, that might be slight exaggeration.
Yeah. I drove down the hill because I didn't want to fly the drone up. Poor Tim has to walk all the way down that hill now. We had made our way into Kofa, heading up a random canyon to see what it held. We eventually hit the end of the road, but we discovered, via the drone, that there was a structure up the washaways. We decided to check it out, so we went for a little hike. Turned out to be an old dam that was now being used for a stock tank. I think I could have sat there and watched the birds for a few hours, but we were both pretty ready to find camp. On our drive in, we had scoped out a few good spots, so we retraced our tracks to take a closer look.
This is the part where you can call me a wuss. I'm exhausted. I look beat up. Man, this is worth it though. Look at this. Middle of Kofa.
It's hard to get too far off the main drag in a canyon like this, but we found a decent spot and it was just late enough that we figured most visitors for the day had already come and gone. We set up our camp and got the fire going as we had already lost the sun over the canyon walls and it was starting to get chilly. Although I have to say, overall we got pretty lucky this trip with nice warm weather, but a fire sure felt nice each night. We had an amazing moon to enjoy, some delicious food, and a cozy bed at the end of the night. But to both our surprise, no howling coyotes. Anyway, not bad.
Cheers. Alright, we're going to cook steak. I'll try and get video of it. If not, I'm sorry.
Our goal was to take dirt back to Phoenix, or at least as close as we could get. We found ourselves bounced around a lot this day, taking lesser and lesser trails as we went. Some dead ends and some going all the way through. One thing was for sure, they were all either rocky or curvy. Most were both. The amount of times Tim had to turn that wheel had started to give him blisters, so today he had resorted to wearing gloves. We were now out of the named areas like Kofa and saw a significant drop in the signs of travel. In fact, once we left Kofa, we saw only one other vehicle in our route the whole day, and whoever was driving it wasn't even around. We also came across this buck who I think was just as surprised to see us as we were him. I stared at him as he stared back until I came to my senses and could grab the camera, just in time for him to come to his senses and run. So cool.
$1918, that's been here since. Pretty cool.
Nice rock on top.
And Yuma County. Well, there you go.
As we crawled towards the new year and our next campsite, wherever that would be, we kept choosing the smaller, less used trails, always crossing our fingers they would connect. We were pretty lucky most of the time. We meandered through stock tanks and an occasional mining claim marker, but that was about the extent of any sign of life out there. The weather was on our side, and it was a nice, cool, overcast day. We could not have asked for more, so we just sat back and enjoyed the ride. Finally found ourselves at a T in the road and the sun nearing the horizon, we had to decide which way camp would be that night. We chose the lesser traveled way, of course, which went through a few fence gates, always a good sign, and quickly turned into a rocky mining road that hadn't seen a vehicle for a while. We followed the road up to the actual mine entrance. Luckily, it was a perfect spot. There was a nice flat area, just big enough for us, and it didn't have a bad view either.
Happy New Year.
Got a little fire going.
A little morning breakfast fire.
Yep.
Coffee.
Coffee going.
Not bad. I can't remember if I said it yesterday or not, so they'll give you two chances to use different video. But this is an old mine we found. We were taking trails to get here that weren't even on topos. And then this was a little line that came up the hill that showed it ended down there. But yeah,
it's very cool.
Cool old mine that you can just tell nobody ever really comes to. No signs anyone's been here, and it's hard to know, but a long time.
Yeah. There's the mine shaft is right here, and then I think there's also one there. I think. Time to head home. It always seems too soon, just when I have finally given in to the slower pace. We headed back down the road, a little sad the trip was coming to an end, but throughout the day's drive, as we hit more and more major roads, we were reminded that even the way back is beautiful.
other side of that hill there. Wanted to come check out this old dam, so we came up this hill. Pretty amazing little view here. You can see where the dam's blown out over on the other side. I think this is the Gillespie Dam. Neat old bridge. So much smoke in the air today, I don't know what's going on. We've been kind of out of touch for 3 or 4 days, but it's a lot of smoke. You can smell it in the air.
As I am editing this, we are almost a month into the new year, and I look forward to the coming adventures of this year, and am already exhausted from some this month. I love sharing our trips with you guys, and if nothing else, I just try to convey the feeling I get with each trip and hopefully share just a little bit of the magic I find with each journey. The joy I get from experiencing new places, named or unnamed, even the dead ends. And sometimes I wish I was better at getting the most interesting shot or capturing just how tough some of the obstacles we hit are. Being able to capture our reactions as we say, "Whoa, we should get a picture of that." But then I realize those are the moments when I am most in the moment, and I would not change that. So I hope you enjoyed the tidbits I can share with you, and I hope in this new year you have just as many chances to find yourself in the moment as well.
Oh yeah? Really? You sure? Cheers. Oh my god, what are you doing? Ew. Sorry you had to see that.